This is the new TC Pride Podcast, episode 130. On location at Lush for a festival comedy preview with the Big Fat Comedy Hour's Sarah McPeck. Twin Cities Pride Podcast, we're on location at Lush for a special impromptu episode of the TC Pride Podcast, and I am here with
Sarah McPeck. What's up, Twin Cities?
Sarah, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. So the first thing I want to say is that we haven't prepared for this at all. So for people who aren't familiar with the work, you're an improv artist. So in true improv form, we didn't prepare for this at all. We're just kind of going to go for this. I'm in large part going to leave it to the professional to kind of lead this thing. But a couple of things we did want to talk about for sure are the Big Fat Comedy Hour happening here at Lush. It's been going on for a couple of years now, as well as the Big Fat Comedy Hour at the Twin Cities Pride Festival, which I think is in its third year. So what can you tell people, first of all, about Sarah McPeck and kind of like what you do, the work you do in the community, and your particular part of the art space here in the Twin Cities?
My name is Sarah McPeck, and I pretty much do all of the fun stuff in the community. It centers around me. No, I'm just kidding. I do a lot of improv. I'm a teacher at the Brave New Workshop. I do a lot of workshops for other community members as well, outreach and whatnot. But my passion project is the Big Fat Comedy Hour held at Lush every third Sunday. We have grown this show from just its baby little comedy show to one of the best variety shows, most well-attended shows in the Twin Cities. We have amazing headliners from all over. I'm so lucky when I've been connecting with comedy festivals to get other headliners out here. And Twin Cities Pride has always believed in me, and I want to shout out to everyone on the board members, Sean McDonald, Dot Bessler, all of Rhonda McDonald, all the other amazing people I'm probably forgetting right now, because they have always believed in me and given me a chance to perform at Pride and given me the Rainbow Stage. And every year people are looking forward to it and coming back year after year. It's been wonderful.
And aside from the Big Fat Comedy Hour providing a space for queer comics and drag performers to perform, you're also giving back to the community every time you do this.
Yeah, every Big Fat Comedy Hour. Come here, actually. Every Big Fat Comedy Hour, we have a virgin sacrifice, and my virgin sacrifice just walked in the bar today.
Oh, my gosh.
So this is her. This is Rosina? Yes. Yes, and she has never done stand-up comedy before. And so what we do is we get one gentle soul to tell us all their secrets in 3 minutes, and then we do an offering for money and we give it to a charity. So let's see what's going on with our virgin sacrifice for tonight.
Rosina, great to meet you. Great timing, by the way.
Yes, nice to meet you guys. Hi.
What can you tell the Twin Cities Pride Podcast community about yourself?
Well, I'm Rosina, and this will be my first time, and I have a really good setup for everybody. So
you're all ready to go. 3 minutes doesn't seem like that long, but let me tell you, when you're on stage, I bet you can seem like a really long time.
Oh yeah, I'm expected to be very nervous, but I'm excited. I can't wait to do this, and I've been waiting for it. So,
and I have to say, your makeup is on point tonight. So I think that's incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I made sure that it was very there.
That's right. She's ready for the stage, everybody. Well, thanks for stopping by, Rosina. We'll see you in a little bit.
Thanks, Rosina.
Awesome. And, hey, Amanda Costner just walked by. She's our headliner for tonight.
Amanda, what's up?
You might know Amanda Costner from Champagne Jamboree, the other half of my lesbian musical duo.
You're the champagne, she's the jamboree. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I am the champagne and she is the jamboree. What's up, Amanda?
Hey, how's it going? That don't mean I'm not classy, though.
No, she is totally classy.
Something interesting about the Champagne Jamboree is that, so for the very first time, so I'm usually on this side of the interview. Actually, it was on the Champagne Jamboree podcast not too long ago. For the first time, you guys had me on the other side of the interview. It was crazy. It was cool, though.
Ryan was so nervous. It was great.
I totally was.
Yeah, we had a blast. You're a great interviewee as well as interviewer.
Thanks so much. I told my story about driving my friend to California, going through Texas, and you guys made up a little song about it raining pancakes in Texas. It was pretty cool.
It was.
Was it like... That's what comes to mind right now.
Something like that, yeah, absolutely.
It was pretty lit, yeah, absolutely.
And I understand, so Amanda's actually headlining tonight's show.
Yeah, Amanda is headlining.
Yeah, I'm going to do some solo stuff. We're also going to be doing some crazy antics together. It's going to be a mixture combo, awesome sauce, Les Fest.
And Amanda actually just recorded her first comedy special. You want to tell the people about it, G?
Yes, it's called Lesbian Jesus. It's my comedy special. It's going to be available on Amazon Prime this summer, probably June.
Awesome. Watch out for Amanda Costner, everybody. All right, get out of here. It's my time to shine.
Thanks so much, Amanda. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Amanda. Hey, everybody. I just need to tell you that if you have a dream, you should go for your dream, because 10 years ago, I was dealing blackjack in a smoky Wisconsin casino, and now I'm pretty much a star. So you should do it too.
I agree. So the other thing too, so like I said, you do improv work. I've dabbled in improv. I've taken, a couple of courses, and it is a lot harder than it looks for anybody that's ever seen improv artists do their thing. So I was a big fan of comedy sports for a long time, and just like I always look at these people as like, oh my gosh, to be able to do that is just like is amazing. So I took a couple of courses. I'm still not what I would consider like adept at improv. But I know that I've learned a couple of things from you, so I also want to take this opportunity to say thanks. So I actually started doing like videos along with all of my podcasts recently, and just like getting in front of a camera was like a big step for me, because like you put a microphone in front of me and I'm fine. Right. A camera is a whole different thing, and so your whole philosophy on this sort of like improv and sort of like sort of growing at the edges thing for you, it's about just doing it, right?
Yeah, totally. It's just doing it, saying yes and to everything. As far as camera work, I honestly, camera on stage, I just completely remind myself that you're talking just like you're talking at any other time in your life. And that's all you have to remember. You know how to do that. The camera means nothing.
You do a lot of like actual Facebook Live stuff. That we're talking before. Actually, as you were pulling in here, we're talking about your Rascal series, which has been a hit recently.
Yeah, everybody. I recently suffered a stress fracture on my tibia, and my dad, R.L. McPeck, shout out Randy, got me a used Rascal from one of his friends. If you don't know what a Rascal is, it's an electric scooter. In the back, it says Mitzi's Go-Go Machine, because it was my dad's friend's mom who passed away. Rest in peace, Mitzi. Thanks for the Go-Go Machine. It has been making my life much better. I do property management for a day job, and I have to drive around a lot on my scooter. We just have a fan dropping by. Come on in, Charles. Charles is a big fan of the Big Fat Comedy Hour. He was actually on our first Big Fat Comedy Hour. We're doing an interview, Charles. But Charles has...
He's carrying something here.
Yeah. Charles is a great fan and friend, and he bought me a Foot Spa Plus to help me get better during my convalescence, and he's dropping it off.
Oh my gosh. Charles, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
And what do you have here? What make and model are we rocking here?
It is a Dr. Scholl's Foot Spa Plus.
Awesome. So this is like top of the line here.
It is top of the line. I have to say, I'm living the dream. Look at these awesome people that support the Big Fat Comedy Hour and myself. That is awesome. Charles, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you afterwards. You can just leave that here.
Awesome. Thanks, Charles. So what can you? So it's so funny. So like it's those things that you wouldn't expect to be like a big hit, but all of a sudden like you've got all these people following like your Rascal series.
Oh, yeah. Back to the Rascal. I'm so sorry. When people rain gifts on me, we just have to take a moment. So I have been going Facebook Live, and at first I have to say using a cane and using a Rascal was a big blow to my ego.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard getting older as it is. And I'm often dating a couple decades underneath my age, so I'm always trying to...
Was that you that said like dating is like a thrift store? Facebook, was that something?
Oh, I don't think it. Oh, yeah. Dating after 30 is like a thrift store. You try to find the thing that is like least damage and the least smelly or something like that.
Something like that, yeah, I saw that.
It seemed to resonate with a lot of people.
I think so.
But during the day at my day job, I'm always trying to find a way to fit all of my life into everything I have to do. So when I take my break to go get my coffee, I put my phone in my Rascal basket. And it's really awesome because the steering shift looks like a giant like snake in between my legs, this like corrugated snake. It's a little phallic, but hilarious. And gets my face at the worst angle, every double chin I could possibly have. But it's funny. And I've ran into a few doors, and I take people on the road with me, and we have a great time. And I've had a lot of followers. And what started as something for me to embrace what I was going through and just being present, which actually is a big tenet of improv, is to just stay present and to accept the situation. And I realized I did just have to accept the situation and try to make hay while the sun shine. And I've really gained a lot of fans through the Rascals. So, and my community, I will have to say, shout out to people that support artists, because my whole community rallied behind me. And while I wasn't able to work my other job and perform as much, I was able to raise a little bit over $2,000 from friends and family that helped me get through every month. So shout out to all those people that helped me, and shout out to helping artists in need. That was really awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So we're at Lush right now. There was like a Sarah McPeck, like a lunch or something that they did, right?
Yep, so we did a good old-fashioned spaghetti dinner here, and all my friends came and performed, and you made a donation, you got a spaghetti dinner, and it was great. We raised a good amount of money there, and more than anything, and I have to say, my 7-year-old niece came and performed stand-up comedy that night, and she stole the show. It was awesome. She's definitely got it in her blood. But more than anything, things of this nature, and the fact that Lush stands behind me and are willing to put that up for me and support the people that produce shows for them, says a lot about them, and I'm really thankful for my community here.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things, right? So like one is that you're able to take something that most people would see as like a negative situation, right, with the stress factor and sort of these sort of negative experiences you've had recently. You've been able to turn them into something positive, which I think says a lot about you in general. And then this idea that we really all do need to stand together as a community. It's funny, we were talking a little bit about this, the acronym, sort of before we started recording. And so there's a lot of different letters in this acronym, but we're really at the end of the day, we're sitting here at Lush, so surrounded by all the flags. There's a couple dozen flags in the air, right? But we're really all part of one big community, and it's really important that we all stand together and help each other out where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't preach how in this polarized climate that we have, that we need to start meeting people in the middle, and we need to start rallying behind our communities, because I think the only chance that we have to survive what's happening is to build stronger communities. So start giving back to the communities that you're in. That's the most important thing, I think.
We also talked about that fundamental of improv, that yes and too, right? So there's probably an element there where it's yes, accepting that things are the way they are right now, but trying to make the best of them and sort of improve upon the situation any way we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very well said. It's confusing for me when you speak so well, Ryan.
It doesn't always happen.
Yeah, it's you're throwing me off tonight. You're just like a poet tonight or something.
Well, what's funny too is it was a couple of years ago that we first did this. So we'll throw back, make sure you listen to, and that was actually one of my favorite episodes ever out of 120 something episodes we're on now. You were just starting the Big Fat Comedy Hour. You had just released your movie, or was a pre-release of Project Q. Right, and so we were able to interview some of the artists from the film there as well. And it was a couple of years ago, so things politically were just kind of starting to shift a little bit. And you kind of talked about the importance of us kind of making the best of that situation, regardless of kind of how things were and how things were going to be. Here we are a couple of years later. Where do you feel we are now compared to then, given sort of what your predictions were about where we might be now at that time?
Well, that is a very heavy question, Ryan. I think we continue to grow stronger. I think, if anything, this catastrophic government system that we've been in has made us realign with each other and hold on tighter and realize that together we can make change. I think it was really easy for a while to just kind of rest back and think Obama's got us in a great spot. Everyone's going to get rights. It's all going to be okay. And I have seen the queer community. I've seen the comedy community. I've seen a lot of communities get tighter and stronger. And I love that. As much as we do have a lot of polarizing forces, it's wonderful. I think we are going to take over the world. Gay people, basically. Sorry, Ryan, but you're on the right side of the law. Ryan's an awesome ally, Hey, we have our stage manager for the Big Fat Comedy Hour coming through. She's a little awkward, so just don't pay attention to her. No, I'm just kidding.
A little.
Hey, everyone, please let me introduce to you one of my stage managers, Ida Sansom.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Ida is thinking about starting stand-up comedy. Ida, do you think you're going to follow through on that?
It's a great question, Sarah. I'm not sure. It depends on opportunities that present themselves. I've got a set all ready to go. It's just life gets crazy, you know? It's hard to make time. But honestly, I love supporting local comedy. Number one, huge fan of local comedy. I love coming out to see local shows. The Big Fat Comedy Hour is one of my favorite things to do. It's actually where I met Sarah. I approached her at a bar. I was like, wow, I love what you do. I love what you've done out there. I love the groups of people that you bring to the scene. It's so much fun. And your Virgin Sacrifice is a great way for local comedians to get their start.
Oh, yeah. Ida, you were a Virgin Sacrifice, weren't you?
Wow, yes, I was.
I had not forgotten that.
No, that was actually a lot of fun. If anybody was out, that was November 18th, 2018. I'm never going to forget that day. A couple days before my birthday. That was a lot of fun. But it's also like there's going to be a Virgin Sacrifice tonight. Who is it?
Rosina. We already talked with her.
Oh, cool.
Rosina. Right
Oh,
there.
cool.
Yeah.
I think I saw her earlier. She is fabulous. Yeah, you are right. I'm excited to see her tonight.
All right. Well, thank you for stopping by, Ida. You're just the bee's knees.
You got it.
So, Ryan, are you going to stick around for the show tonight?
I'm going to stick around for a bit for sure. So, I mean, this is just, so we've already talked to a few people here. So this is a collaborative process, right? So, I mean,
Everything I do, I love to collaborate with. I'm a solo artist, but my biggest passion is bringing people into the queer community. If it's somebody who needs a helping hand, to say, hey, come here. This is a fun place. This is a safe space. If it's connecting people in comedy, if it's saying, I believe in you, you should try this, you should do this. You might not do it forever, but whether you do it forever or you do it one night, you're going to be so proud of yourself that you did it and you tried something new. And I think that is all what life is about. Trying new things, having fun, being scared.
absolutely. So, and just to wrap up, we were talking about before too. So one of your predictions was that, you know, the queer community, no matter what part of the community, that especially within like the arts community, that they were just going to get fiercer and louder and prouder about doing the things that you do, and that nothing was gonna hold that back. I think what's happened with the Big Fat Comedy Hour is sort of like a representation of that, bringing those people into the fold. And providing those opportunities for people to be fierce and to be loud and to be proud of who they are.
Well, that makes me so happy that you see that, because that is everything that I want to do. We are able to pay people. Shout out to Lush for believing me and giving me a budget that we can actually pay artists what they're worth. Shout out to the people that come and keep supporting live comedy. And I agree. I just want us to all be friends, all have a good time. We might go to bed at night and still deal with our own traumas and shit, but every once in a while we can get out and get together and laugh and just forget about it all.
And before we shift to the festival, so you've actually picked up a couple new gigs lately. So there's a place in St. Paul actually that has been a big part of the queer community for a long time, that recently sort of shifted ownership, but still has a strong commitment to the LGBT community. You started hosting a show that maybe we talk about that for just a second.
Yeah, thanks so much. I started a weekly show, something I've always wanted to do. It's a weekly open mic. It's the Laugh Lounge at Black Hearts of St. Paul, now a soccer bar / gay bar. So only in Minnesota.
You could kick a soccer ball to the Minnesota United Stadium from there.
Oh, absolutely. It's right down the road. The owner of it, Wes Spurding, has been a big supporter of the Big Fat Comedy Hour of Sarah McPeck and getting local comedy going. He, again, also provides us a budget to bring in a headliner. So it is local comics working out their stuff. You know, sometimes it's hit or miss, but we're always going to have a headliner that comes in at the end and finishes out the show. It's free. It's free for you to come and sign up, and it's been super fun for me. And it's also a way for me, who's so busy, to be connected with other comedians too, where they're kind of coming to me every week. So that's been a smart move on my part, because it is hard to be in a million different places at one time, which is me.
No, I hear you for sure. And this was the townhouse.
It's the townhouse. Yeah, it used to be the townhouse. Actually, the townhouse was and this bar where I have my show was the very first gay bar I ever went to by myself. I was scared to death. Nobody talked to me. It was before cell phones. And I have to say, before I went into this bar, I had a very different expectation of what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I figured this package here would be quite the panty dropper. And let me say, folks, it was crickets. I didn't know what to do, but I will.
Which happens sometimes.
It does happen sometimes. Yep. I think also I'm very femme presenting, and that is sometimes a problem in the queer community. That people don't read me as being a lesbian. They're just like, oh, this poor girl wandered it off the street and walked into a gay bar. Let's just leave her alone with her French twist and her pink Nike shoes, because that's what I wore. And yeah, so it's kind of fun, like full circle. 10 years later, I have a weekly show there, and I'm a very well-known lesbian, and I love it. And I also met one of my best friends there that night, who still continues to do all of my websites and graphic design for free. Thank you, Erica. I love you.
Erica, we need to talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't be taking my connects.
All right, sounds good.
Work your own deals.
Sounds good. So they're obviously their new ownership, right? So I know you like to shout me out as your awesome ally. I think I'm just an ally, but how important is it you think to like the queer arts movement to have those allies in those places that are able to provide those spaces, right? Like I've talked to other people on some of my other podcasts about how important those spaces are, just the actual physical location and space. To have that platform to perform, how important are those relationships with those allies to be able to have those places to perform?
It's amazing because our allies can help us grow so much. Also, by reaching out to their community, it seems silly, but like once you really get to know a person, whatever marginalized identity they are, you start to see people as humans. And I think if we all just take away the labels, the gay, the straight, the Republican, the Democrat, the whatever, and start seeing each other more as humans, we can do a lot. As far as our allies, we need our allies just as much as we need each other. And we need that because you can't have a full community unless everyone is involved. So I am very accepting of straight people coming into our spaces as long as they're respective of our... I don't think I said that word right, but as long as they're respecting our spaces, people like you, people like Wes, it's amazing, and I love it. I love celebrating that you want to celebrate us. That's wonderful.
You talked about that too. I think last time we talked about how like you envision a day like in the not too distant future where like there isn't really like that like bold of a line between like the straight bar and the gay bar, and like you saw that like more like straight people quote unquote are going to more gay bars quote unquote, and like people aren't worried like, oh my gosh, they're gonna think I'm gay now. It's just sort of like the line is starting to blur a little bit, which is going to be a good thing.
It's wonderful. It's like we don't need our spaces anymore to just be safe on a regular basis, but we still need our spaces as much as any group needs their space to just be together and totally do our thing without any question, really.
And about the biggest space there is every year is the Twin Cities Pride Festival. Let's get back to that. So you've been involved on the Twin Cities. So this is the third year now of the Big Fat Comedy Hour, actually on the Rainbow stage. Why don't we talk a little bit about that and kind of how that all started and kind of what's coming up this year?
Well, it all started by me reaching out to the Pride group board. I guess that's a better word for it.
This was just another example of you just kind of putting yourself out there and just being, right? Yeah, this is like, Improv 101, just putting yourself out there and just doing it.
Mm-hmm. I was still a relatively unknown comedian. I had been doing a lot of good work, and I had been doing a documentary with a lot of the movers and shakers in the Twin Cities community. And I was able to talk my way into them giving me an hour and producing a show. And I remember that was probably one of the most scary shows I have ever done, because outdoor comedy sucks. I have to say, to do outdoor comedy, it sucks. Only because you don't have the room, you don't have the space, you don't have the laughs coming right back at you. So you just have to know that it's out there because you don't really hear it as much. You just have to see it in the faces. But it was a wonderful show. I did it. I put it on. I was so proud of myself. I also had a float that year. It was a crazy pride. And now every year people are asking to do the show. They're asking, where is the Big Fat Comedy Hour at Pride? And it's always at the Rainbow Stage across from the beer garden. You can always find it. And we have drag, we have comedy, we have headliners, and it's free and it's lovely. And it's a nice part of Pride that doesn't cost any money. And you can just come and get to know some more queer artists. And what I really love, I just talked to a transgender comedian, a lady who is going to now be on my Pride show. I had one spot left, and she reached out to me because she's like, everyone keeps telling me I have to meet you. And I'm like, great, come to my show. And that's kind of how I am. Like, I saw a tape. I haven't met her, but enough people have vetted for her, and she sounds amazing. And I really want to give people a chance to get into communities that they're not a part of, too, so they can network and grow. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. That's kind of how we met too. I think you had reached out to Dot, the executive director of Twin Cities Pride, and you were like, "Hey, I heard about this podcast, and we should," right? So that kind of goes back to your whole philosophy about just going for it, right? Kind of like you said right at the beginning of our episode here, right? If there's something, if you have a dream, if you have something you want to accomplish, just go for it.
Yeah, no one's going to hand your dream to you. It's the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Open mouths don't get fed, or closed mouths don't get fed.
Close mouths don't get fed. You hang around a barbershop long enough, you're bound to get a haircut. That's been my philosophy back to my dad, who got me the Rascal. He actually helped my brother get started as an accordion musician and become pretty well known. And I really watched how they did that, and I kind of applied the same thing to my comedy. I mean, if you can make the accordion sound good, I mean, you can. So let's talk about this year's stage, Rainbow Stage, Big Fat Comedy Hour at the festival this year. Maybe we can shout out a couple of the artists that'll be performing this year. Yeah, thanks so much. So on Saturday, the 22nd, we're going to have Marsden Kelly from Chicago headlining. We're going to have Megan Anderson from Dykes to Drag is going to be on the show. Christy Bartleby, one of my students from the Brave New Workshop. Shrew T. Iyer, who has been an awesome new performer. And then on Sunday, we're having Dwayne Duke, a headliner from Florida. Akeem Woods, a headliner from L.A. We're having Ashley Henderson, a comedian that is bomb. She's taking over stages left and right. Guarantees she's going to be nationally known in probably under 5 years. And it's just going to be a killer show. And the best part, just like the Big Fat Comedy Hour, we're all friends and it all shows, and we're all having a great time and bringing you along for the ride. And every Big Fat Comedy Hour at the park, we raise money with our Virgin Sacrifice. We give it to a charity. Up to date, we've raised over $2,500 to give to local community groups where, you don't think that $63 or that $87 a show might make a difference, but it really does. We do a lot for Queers on Wheels, and they take homeless LGBT youth out to the roller garden, and they buy them pizza, and they let them skate and just be kids and get to be in a safe queer community. So that is amazing to me, and thank you to my audiences who pull out their pocketbooks every show and throw a couple dollars in there, and sometimes more than a couple dollars, and that means so much to me. Thank you.
Sounds like you're getting some really strong sort of national representation with this whole Big Fat Comedy Hour thing too.
Yeah, we definitely are starting to get known, and I'm starting to put together shows for people like definitely outside the Twin Cities. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I have a couple really big shows in the works for some great lesbian comedians who I have been following for years who are interested in working with me, and that's freaking fantastic. Yeah, I love it. So,
and you've been traveling a little bit too, right?
Yeah, I just got back from Daytona Beach. I had a couple shows out there. I'll be going to Kentucky later on this summer, and hopefully a few other places. So it's been really fun. I just performed in Florida for a place that I thought might be a little scary, a little sketchy, but I got in there and I burrowed through on my lesbian comedy, and there happened to be two lesbians in the room that came up, and one was crying, one gave me a kiss and said they're like, we never have anyone like you here. So
it's those moments, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's those moments that keeps people in the kind of work that we do like going, right?
And I almost didn't do my lesbian stuff. Seriously, I almost bailed and just did all my mom stuff, and I'm so glad I did. Now we're Facebook friends. We got plans for when I come back to Florida, so it's really great. That's the best part.
Well, like I said, so we are pre-Big Fat Comedy Hour here. I want to just grab a few minutes of your time. We're already a little bit long. Thank you so much, as always. Where can people find out everything you need to know about Sarah McPeck, Big Fat Comedy Hour, et cetera, et cetera?
So just go to www.sarahmcpeck.com, Instagram Sarah_McPeck, Facebook Sarah McPeck, Twitter Renegade Hippo, and just mostly come to Lush. You'll always find me here, and it's an amazing space. Shout out to Ken Darling, Brian Johnston, and James Nelson. You guys are fabulous.
We've always been huge supporters of the Twin Cities Pride podcast as well. Hashtag It Takes a Village. Thank you again, Sarah. Good luck with the show tonight. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, and good luck with everything at the festival this year.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Have a great day.
The TC Pride Podcast is a production of the Non-Pod, nonprofit podcast community, and Twin Cities Pride. Subscribe now on iTunes, on Android, or by email at tcpridepodcast.org. Because we're in this together. Non-Pod turns your email newsletter, blog, or video content into a more powerful, more personal, more intimate, on-demand listening experience. Your podcast, your story, your voice, simplified, amplified. Learn more now at nonpod.com.